With the diversification of consumption patterns, consumer behavior analysis is becoming more and more important for marketers. In today's society, the consumer's habits and attitudes are changing, with people's life is increasingly inseparable from the internet. TradeMe is the largest online trading website in New Zealand, and in this video, our group will introduce the experience of Fan, a member of the group who picked a car retailer in TradeMe and ultimately bought it. The motivation that we choose this experience is because it was a very distinct process of internet consumption. Fan wanted to buy a big and powerful car earlier in this year, and he chose a car from a car retailer in Auckland through TradeMe in Christchurch and took a plane to Auckland to pick it up. We'll use the consumer decision-making process to analyze how Fan made the decision at each step when this experience happened.
About how do customers engage in this behavior? Firstly, we need to know the most important decision constructs. Because this behavior is a high-level involvement purchase, we need to do a lot of research and analyze to help we make a better decision and get the most satisfactory car. For this behavior, we want to get a good second-hand car, so our construct is the budget and function. Then we need to do an analysis to know what kind of car, what body style, what engine size it follow our construct and requirement to help we get the best choice. The next step is compare each other, because after analyze we know what kind of car are follow our requirement and constructs. For example, our group member Fan, his budget is 10,000 to 50,000 and he wanted a car can travel anywhere and comfortable. So maybe we need a sedan or wagon car with a medium engine size and automated transformation and a petrol car. And we use the information from TradeMe to compare all choose. Then we can get the two best choice is BMW 220 and Lexus GS 300 with lower than 8,000 km and $50,000. And we need to decide where buy this car because the same car in different place have a different price. Next, about how often do customers engage this behavior. When customer want to change their car or buy a new car, and every time their friend ask him about which car is the best choice, they will use this behavior.
Evaluating and selecting alternatives. Your everyday consumer naturally assesses all available alternatives to make the optimal choice that is worth their time, money, and utility, filling their needs. The consumer will assign different levels of importance to the alternatives and has to decide which adheres with the evaluative criteria. This develops their belief on brand and its attributes. For example, fans' evaluative criteria such as budget constraints, convenience, transmissions, and engine size. Therefore, they can make indirect judgments such as a perceivable aspects through, for example, an expensive brand equals high quality. With this, he can associate brands such as Lexus as expensive, perceive them as high quality. Consumers' priorities vary in what they find important, whether it's financial, cognitive, or affective preservations and motives. This shapes their evaluative criteria differently. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a concrete structure that looks into the individual on how they function when their needs are met and once their minimal needs are met. That is when they look higher up into the structure. This explains that needs and underlying motivation of consumer engaging in such consumptions, such as purchasing a car from TradeMe. Some motives are more important than others. In this case, Fan chose to satisfy his esteemed needs, where research indicates desire for status, superiority, self-respect, and prestige. They relate to the individual's feelings of usefulness and accomplishment. Using his evaluative criteria, which is influenced by his manifest motive, the drive to these motives are past experiences with TradeMe, making it reputable in his eyes, enhancing consumer bargaining power through easy navigation on site, and good quality cars for an affordable price. On contrary, many customers purchase his products to look socially desired by their peers. They anticipate people's reaction rather than focusing on product's attributes. As consumption offers much more than just goods or services, seeing that they walk away with an intangible value that is perceived greater than the product itself, such as status, image, style, reflecting the true values and motives for the purchaser. Research indicates that this plays into Macquire's psychological motives under affective preservation motives, the need for self-expression.
As TradeMe is a collection of sellers listing products for consumers to browse, we would consider the selection method the consumer uses as product first, store second, where the dealership is the store. To the consumer, dealers displaying their products on TradeMe have little differentiation from each other. Really, the only way dealerships can differentiate themselves from others is the use of a logo. This makes it difficult for consumers to decide which dealership they will choose from, as a logo on its own does not translate into how reputable the dealership may be to the consumer. To combat this, dealers can use a range of incentives to put on their listings, such as finance options, warranties, and other services to give the consumer more reason to purchase through their store. Dealers could also include a link to their website, which offers a more personalized and accurate reflection of their dealership, which the consumer can then use to evaluate which store they would choose. A helpful tool that could be used by consumers to differentiate better between dealerships is a review system, just as there is with private sellers. The review system that would be used for dealers on TradeMe would benefit from having an option for dealers to reply to good and bad reviews. This would reduce the possibility of fake reviews being made against the dealer, as well as clarifying any misunderstandings that may have happened between a customer and a dealership. This review system could give reassurance to the consumer that they are choosing from the right dealer. As consumers use the product first, store second selection method, there is more focus on the selection based on the evaluative criteria of the product. For dealers, the best way for potential consumers to pick their dealership is to offer the best value to the consumer.
Product disposal and marketing strategy, purchase evaluation and customer satisfaction. And we also believe that smart companies know how to deal with auctions are rapidly growing in number. All income groups engage in a new customer segment made up of those who prefer to purchase lower-priced used goods may form. A manufacturer might even decide to enter such a market by buying used products or taking trade-ins and repairing them for the rebuilt markets. Secondly, developing extensive staff training programs to ensure that employees know how to engage with customers are necessary for today's business. Thirdly, it is a strategy that involves anticipating dissatisfaction and removing the potential cause before it happens. Thank you.